If you've been following along with us, then you're familiar with our young appy Molly Mule. But if you're new here, meet Josie. We purchased Josie about 4 months ago as an unhandled long yearling. She wasn't halter broke, and at first she was pretty timid about people. But it didn't take long to build some trust with this sweet little mule. In our last update, we were starting to handle Josie's feet, teach her to lead, and started prepping her for trailer loading. Since then, we have worked on trailer loading, more groundwork, getting her ready for the farrier, and getting her more comfortable with objects on her back in preparation for her first saddling. Today we are going to show you a little of what we have done with her since the last update. We are also giving her her first haircut, and we are going to saddle her for the first time. We also talk a little bit about trailer loading and what our plans are for her going forward. As we mentioned before, these videos aren't meant to be instructional. We are far from professional trainers. But we're documenting Josie's journey so you all can follow along, and so that we can look back on these videos as a sort of journal later on. However, I'm going to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, and if you happen to be working with a young horse or mule, or plan to in the future, then there might be something you can take away from these videos that will help you out.
Hi, Miss Josie. How are you today? You ready for a haircut? Yeah. Your wild child mane, you ready for a trim? Yeah. Should we trim you up? What do you think? Your first haircut ever? Poor little Josie cut her nose on something. So it's almost healed up. It's all scabbed over now, but always try to be careful putting the halter on. I don't catch that little bump of hers. Oh, she's probably gonna have a little scar. Poor girl. Good girl. So for those who haven't watched any Josie videos before, we just bought her this spring. She wasn't halter broke. She is only about a year and a half, a little over. She'll be 2, we think in October. The guy actually couldn't remember when exactly she was born. So sometime between October and December, she should turn 2. And she's about 13.3 hands right now. We're both pretty tall, so we're hoping she'll grow. Her mom was an Appaloosa horse. She was about 15.1 hands tall, and her dad was a donkey, a Mammoth Jack, and he was about 15 hands tall. So she should get pretty good size. When we got her, she still had her winter coat. So as you can see, now that she's shed out, she actually has like done markings on her. Even though she is a nappy, she's got the black points down her legs, the striping on her shoulder. She even has a dorsal stripe where she's brown. So she's got just crazy markings. And she has even like some roaning in her little spots here. So she's a pretty cool little mule. I was excited to see all that come out as she started shedding out her winter coat, but we've just been working with her a lot on getting her halter broke and just some groundwork. She hadn't ever had her feet handled before. She had never had any other groundwork done with her. We actually loaded her in the trailer by running her down a cattle alley and into the trailer. We couldn't even get a halter on her to load her and bring her home. So she's been a blank slate and just been having fun, gaining her trust and becoming friends with her. And now we're ready to move on to more advanced stuff with her and get her prepared so that way when she's a 2-year-old, she can go on some pack trips with us and just, she probably won't pack any weight, but she can at least pack the saddle and go up in the mountains with us. And then when she's 3, that's when we'll probably start her under saddle. So we're planning on having her as a pack mule and a riding mule. There's just some sparse little hairs left. Yeah. So we started picking up her feet in the last video, but now I would like her to give them all away. Good job. And even allow me to pick them out. There you go. So she's gotten a lot better, a lot more confident. I think at this point now she's just kind of like, I'd rather I didn't have to hold my foot up, thanks. More so than being afraid of it. Good girl. Yes. Mules love their rear ends scratched all around their tail. I don't know a mule that doesn't. Huh. Good girl. I always like to keep the line just a little bit tight when I'm going for this back foot, because if she did want to get bothered, I could turn her and she thinks I'm trying to pull her the other way. I could turn her and roll those hind quarters away from me if she started kicking out. So it's just a good way for me to be safe. There you go. This one, please. Good girl. All the way. All right. And one thing, if she does start kicking, I can just lift up on this toe, and that'll help me to be able to control her foot better to where I'm not gonna get kicked. And then when I do finish, I wanna just let her foot down softly. I don't wanna just drop it. Good girl. Then she gets the butt scratches for doing good job. I'm actually a little sad to cut her mane because she's just kind of a little wild child with that crazy mane of hers. But eventually we gotta do it. It's starting to get pretty windblown and tangly most of the time. Oh, yeah. Josie, look at that. That's a funny little mane. It will look cool though once it's roached, all the little stripes down it. Yeah, but I'm kind of sad to cut it. I want to try to get her mane in a nice straight little mohawk. So we're gonna gel it just a little bit. What is that? Is it edible? She says. It's not. Okay. We're gonna do your hair, okay? Does that smell funny? Kind of smells fruity. You can't eat it. All right, here we go. We'll run a little gel in there. I think we're gonna get it to spike. You gotta have a little fun before you cut it all off, right? Oh yeah, Josie, this is it right here. The Mulesaurus. How about that? Josie, that's a good look, girl. You ready? Try to do it straight here, girl. I can see the comments already. People are gonna be like, why would you cut their mane? It's so cute and pretty. And it is, but it's kind of tradition that mules just have their mane roached. They really never grow a very good mane. I'm sure some mules could. Ours don't. She probably never will. Plus, I just think they just look sharper with it roached. We choose to keep our manes short on our mules, not our horse. We would never cut her mane, but it's just our choice and what we prefer. And I know some people love manes on mules. We just find they're a little hard to manage. She has some funny cowlicks, and what I'll have to do is this will start growing out straighter now, and I can come back in and trim it again here in probably just a couple weeks. Trim it just a little shorter, and all that cowlicky part will have straightened out, and it'll look a lot better than it looks right now. But she's doing great with these scissors up around her ears. This was kind of just a training deal. She's never had her mane trimmed, so you know, that kind of stuff sounds funny to her, but she is doing great. Eventually we'll trim these with regular electric clippers. Okay, hold still so I don't mess up your bangs. Good girl, you're so good. There you go, that's a good look. Oh, Josie, she's so cute.
I think it looks really good.
Look at that. You really see the striping in her mane now. Oh, Josie, look at you.
It's like when an 18-year-old goes into the military, they like get a haircut and go to work. She's getting her haircut, and then she's gonna be packing the pack saddle here in just a minute.
Time to grow up. You look all grown up. All right, we ready to move on? So in the last video, we started introducing her to the flag. So we've still been working with that and getting her where she is not worried at all about this flag. So at this point, you can be pretty darn careless with this thing. She really does not care. She knows it's not gonna hurt her. I can put it underneath her legs. I can touch her back legs with it. I can touch her front legs with it. This was kind of the last spot to get her over. Equines tend to be real touchy in their front end here when you're first starting to work with them, because that's a pretty vulnerable spot if they let something dangerous get up in there. And she no longer cares. So she's more interested in trying to eat than she is in what I'm doing with this flag. She does not care. So I've got her to where she can follow it and move with that commotion. Not a big deal. So that was kind of our first step to getting her started under saddle. Is if I can't touch her with this, I'm probably not gonna be able to touch her with the saddle pad or saddle. And she does not care at all. I rub her little face with it. She does not care. So far, she seems like she really doesn't care to go fast with anything. She's pretty chill, which is great for up in the mountains. She's very athletic though, so she has the ability, but she's really a very nice, chill mule, which we couldn't tell at first just because she was so worried about people, especially us being new and stuff. And so we weren't sure how reactive she was going to be, but she's turned out to be such a mellow, nice little mule. So last time we started introducing her to this tarp, and we were having her walk over it. But I don't think I really tried to touch her with it. We were still working with the flag. But since then, we've introduced this tarp to her and worked on petting her with it, kind of rolled up like this, all the way down her legs, under her belly, down her back legs, off her back end. Just getting her used to this tarp everywhere. Good girl, Josie. On both sides. You always want to make sure you do both sides. And now we're even to the point where I've started letting her kind of pack it around. Because someday, when she is packing stuff, she's gonna have a big old canvas manny up there. And that might make some crinkly noises, or she might be packing a slicker in the rain. And I don't want her to be reactive to the sound of this tarp. So just getting her where she can handle all that, and that's not scary to her. So she's been doing really good. Ask her to walk here with me. Good girl. Move it around while she's walking. In case I ever need to put a slicker on while we're going down the trail. I want her to be okay with that. Seeing stuff on both sides. Good girl. Good girl. There you go. You get a stop. Perfect, right there. Good job. The thing that troubled her the most was just this lead rope, really, and just the end of it, especially touching down on her legs and stuff. But like we said before, one day we want to be able to pack her. We're gonna have to sling some ropes over her back, and so we've been working a lot on ropes. Also, someday we're gonna have to hobble her, and so we've been working lots on just getting her to follow a feel with that rope. Good girl. And not overreacting to that. And at first this was really scary. But as you can see now, she really does not care. Here, set yourself back up here. Do it with this leg. Good girl. What is that? Scratch your foot. Good job. So we've been working lots, even on like kind of purposely getting her tangled and just having her learn how to give to that and not get upset about it. This is going to help her in the future if she ever gets in a mess with a pack saddle or being tied up or who knows, caught in wire, that she's not going to stress about ropes. Good girl. Good girl. So I like that she just gives to that. She isn't upset about it. And that's going to keep her safe and us safe in the future. So front and back feet we've been working on. Good girl. And she really does not care whatsoever anymore. Good girl. So all 4 feet. But it's really nice now because when I'm leading her and I let her stop and graze and say she steps all through the line and gets all kinds of tangled up and then goes to walk off. Anymore, it's not a big deal. And she'll just stop and wait for me to come untangle her. So she's doing really good. No worries. Also been getting her used to what's going to be a britchin eventually. So having some pressure around her hind end. Having that not be worrisome. Been taught her to yield to that pressure so I can pull her, take a step, wait for her, wait for her. She's thinking about it. Her little face right now. Close. We'll wait. Close. There it was. Good girl. That's enough. That's a good try. Okay, let's go again. I want her to move that hindquarters towards me. Good girl. Just from that. So we're setting her up for success when we go to put a britchin on her. But that doesn't worry her. That if she were to get tangled in something, instead of fighting against it, like right now she's kind of pulling against it, I want her to learn to yield to that. Good girl. Yield to that pressure and not get upset. So that way she doesn't cause a wreck or get herself in a wreck. Oh, one step. Yeah, good girl. Good job, Josie. So the other thing is getting her used to a cinch and the feeling of the cinch. So making sure she's not touchy about that. I'll even put a little pressure on it, ask her to walk with that on. No worries. Mules are pretty funny. They have like a nap time every day, and it's usually around noon or a little after, and they'll all take naps. And right now, you know, it's about 1 o'clock. We're filming this, and you can tell she's kind of like, it's my nap time. I'm supposed to be napping. She's not a whole lot of energy. She usually is pretty chill too, but today especially, she's just kind of sleepy. So, besides that, to get her set up for the pack saddle, we have these are saddle panniers, so they would just go over your riding saddle. But I've gotten her used to where I can stick these on her back. They kind of flap around and jingle, make some noise. Get to where those aren't scary. She can see those and they don't bug her. So all this stuff we've been doing to help her get ready for a successful first saddling. Good girl. All right. Got her pack saddle pad. Now we'll see how the cinch fits. She's so little still. We actually might have to use a regular riding saddle pad, because this is a little longer than a normal riding saddle pad would be. I just want to make sure it's not going to get in the way of her cinch. So same thing, we started with this on both sides, letting her sniff it, making sure she's good with it, falling underneath her, sliding back. Oh, sorry, I shocked her. It's real staticky. Good girl. Maybe she shocked me. Hopefully I didn't shock her. Good girl. Try not to touch ya. Yeah, I keep getting zapped. We got our little sawbuck here. So typically when we're up in the mountains, we're going to be using deckers. But we have another mule named Cedar that came to us with a bucking issue. And just in case she did something, we didn't want her to end up breaking our nice sawbuck saddle.
Nice decker.
Oh, sorry, nice decker saddle. So this one was real cheap. It's brand new, down at our little tack store. And we saw it one day and we're like, you know, that would probably work perfect for Cedar just to get her started. And it's nice because it's a lot lighter than our decker. And so it's also great for Josie, who is just a baby and we don't want to put a lot of weight on anyway. But she needs to start getting used to packing something around. I know it's not a big deal. So it works great. And it's just kind of our little, not a throwaway saddle by any means, but a lot less expensive than our really nice decker saddle. All right. So let's see if I got these situated. Actually might be just a little short. So, because I've never cinched this on her before, I don't know exactly how long I need my latigos. And what I'm checking for is, I want these rings, these are the middle of the cinch, I want those rings to fall just on this side, on the off side of the middle of her belly. So that way when I tighten up the cinch on the other side, those rings will be centered in the middle of her belly. So right now they're a little too far this way. That's probably about good, maybe just a little more. I want to make sure they reach over on the other side. That should be good. All right. Make sure we got this put in the right spot here. Yeah. All right, sweetheart, you gotta stand here for me. Good girl, we're not leaving yet. So, what I'm going to do is I'm not gonna cinch her really tight. What I'm gonna start with is I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure on her. I'm actually gonna lead her forward with that and just check her out. Just get her used to that it's gonna be around your belly. She does not care. We'll turn her around for you here. Arch. Perfect. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cinch her. My main goal is just to keep her standing here while I get this kind of set up, because I want to make sure I've got this cinch tied off before she moves, just in case she decides to go somewhere at a faster rate than I would like her to. We've done everything we can to set her up for success here, so I don't think she's going to buck, but you never know. And we just want to make sure. The worst case scenario would be this saddle slips underneath her. Here, wait for me. I know you want to eat whatever it is on the ground that you think's edible. Huh? What is that? Is that tight on your belly? Our britchen's in the way of our back cinch here. There we go. So I'm gonna cinch this really slow, really easy. Like I said, I want this to be tight enough, good girl, that if she does do something, that saddle's not gonna slip underneath her, because that's gonna really scare her. And then we're probably gonna have a bigger problem on our hand. However, I don't wanna just really like pull this up into her belly, because that would be kind of offensive. All right, so we're cinch tight enough that if she decides to do anything, that saddle's not gonna go anywhere. So this is where she might have decided that didn't feel very good, and she would have maybe bucked or jumped around. And so far she really does not care. We're gonna check her cinches here. I'm gonna tighten them down just a little bit more. I'd like to get them to the point where they would be if we were actually packing something on her. And just a tiny bit tighter in the front. That one's already good. Nice job, Jose. All right. Good girl. I've been wanting to saddle her for the last week. I felt like she's been real ready for it, but we wanted a video. So today is the day. So, then we have our little breast collar. She's doing so good, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on too. Make sure that's not twisted. Now this is gonna be too big for her, but it won't get tangled on her anyway. We need our whole punch. That's way too big. Because you're so little. You're just a baby. And your breast collar's too big. We gotta put some holes on the other side too, I think. But we'll shorten this first. There we go. There's that side. Don't eat sticks. Probably not good for your belly. Poke some holes over here. If you guys have followed us, you know we talked about maybe buying Josie to resell. That was kind of our plan at the beginning. And then after having her for about a week, we're like, no, this mule is awesome. She's like my dream mule. It's a funny story because I saw her for sale like a year before we bought her. And I thought she was gone forever. I thought they'd sold her. They wanted a lot of money for her. And then their circumstances changed and they hadn't actually sold her. And so she came back up for sale, and we ended up going and buying her like the next day from when she came back up for sale. And it was awesome because I remember looking at that little Molly online and just being like, man, I would love to own that little mule. She seems cool. Never thinking I would. And now she's here with us, which is kind of unbelievable. So there we go. All right, we're gonna try it with just her breast collar. See how she feels about that. So far, she doesn't seem to care. Good girl.
If you were new to working with mules, what would you look for to see if she cares?
I would look for mostly just overall, is she kind of tight? Like you can almost see the anxiety. You'll be able to see it on their expression and their body. They might have really quick steps. They might kind of be tippy-toeing. And all those are pretty good signs that they're not okay with what's happening. And sometimes they just won't be okay right away and it just feels a little weird and they'll work out of it. But varying degrees, if you notice that they're really, really worried and they might be sweating like around their ears or eyes, that's usually like kind of an anxiety sweat more so than a physical sweat. Then you know maybe they're experiencing too much pressure and you need to go back a step or two before that and get them ready. So again, this was adjusted for Cedar, which she is a bigger mule than Josie. So this is probably gonna be too long. It's actually not as bad. Josie's long, Cedar is short and compact and fat. So I'm surprised this britchin actually isn't too awfully off on Josie. So there we go. We got the britchin on. It's a little bit big for her. Let's see if she cares.
Especially that little side strap.
Yeah, the little side strap is dangling down pretty good. We probably don't even really need to clip that down there, but I'm not judging by her look. I am not worried about her throwing a fit and maybe getting a leg up through there. So this is good because a rope around her back end, not that long ago, was pretty troubling for her. And so we've done a lot of work to get her used to that, just so we could put this britchin on and she wouldn't be reactive to that. And I'm really happy with her. She's doing really, really good. So we're gonna check the cinch one more time here. My rings are about in the middle. I could tighten it up a little bit on that side. And then I think we'll take her for a little walk down the driveway and back with her little pack saddle on. So this is a, knock on wood, a very easy first saddling, which is what we were working towards and what we were hoping for. And this is how I like first saddles to go. No drama, no worries. She feels good about her life. I don't feel like she's gonna hurt herself or hurt me, so this is awesome. Good girl. All right, let's walk around now that we cinched that down a little bit. It's gonna be a little tighter. Does not care. Good girl. She says, I'm ready. If I was bigger, we could go pack into the mountains tomorrow. She could pack in a sleeping bag for us. One of our lightweight, maybe our like super lightweight backpacking gear. She could probably pack a air pad and a sleeping bag for us. I feel like she needs one of those like little tiny burrow pack saddle systems. She's so little tiny panniers. That'd be awesome. She could pack her lunch for us. Good girl. All right, let's go for a little walk. Might even trot her down the driveway a little, see how she feels. Go for a little walk. Yeah, you stay home. Good girl, Josie. What do you do? Come on, Josie. Yeah. Girl. Very nice. Let's go, Josie. There you go.
Good boy, squirrel.
Oh. She said, I didn't know we were stopping. Yeah. Good job. She got barely a little bit nervous trotting down there. She kind of picked up the pace for a second and then she's like, no, I'm fine. Good job. Good girl. Just the coolest little mule. Yep. I would never buy a mule just for color, typically. It was hard with her because we didn't know what she was going to be. Good girl. Because she's a baby.
Like mentally?
Mentally, yeah. We didn't know. One, we still don't know really how big she's going to be. We did see her mom. Her mom's really built well. We saw pictures of her dad, same. Just nice big bones, tall, stocky. So we're like, okay, we feel like she's going to be big enough for us. Once she grows up, mules do tend to grow slower than horses. They mature slower. Usually mules can grow really until they're 6 years old. Sometimes even longer, which is crazy. But mentally, yeah, we didn't know because she really hadn't been handled. So we couldn't work with her really and see. But we were like, well, I hope she's pretty calm. And she's turned out so much calmer than we thought she would. Part of that is taking it slow with her, but a lot of that is just her personality. No one else really had handled her before us, and so thankfully she didn't come with any sort of baggage or bad experiences. Really, her first haltering sounds like maybe it was just a little rough, and so she was a little bit nervous about the halter right at first, but we got over that, and now, man, it's like anything you throw at her, she's just like, okay. As long as you let her think about it, she really tries hard for you. So she's a little bit pushy, she's a little bit dull, and she wants to graze while you're leading her. But all those things can be fixed, and I'd rather have one that's maybe just a little bit dull than one that's going to be reactive and dangerous up in the mountains. So she is absolutely perfect for what we want to do. Good girl. So one of the other things we've been working on is just trailer loading. So we started just by feeding her grain, like me in here. We started this way until she could get comfortable being just by this door, and eventually just got where we could lead her on up here. Good girl. And she would eat her grain in here. So she hasn't really been tied actually like hard to something yet. We've wrapped the leader up around where if she does want to move back, there's a little bit of drag on it, but she's not tied hard and fast to anything. Hi, you're doing good. And so we need to work on that before we actually take her for a trailer ride. But we wanted to work on her just standing in here, being chill. She's never gone anywhere in here since we brought her home. Good girl. Nope, we're gonna stand here for a second. Yeah, good job. And so mostly we've just gotten her to where she can get up in here. We turn her around like that. She can just kind of relax. I don't want her getting in the habit where she's just rushing out of this trailer. So I want her to walk to the edge and just stop, just relax. That way she doesn't wipe anyone out when you're trying to load her and unload her. And eventually we'll teach her to back out. This is a pretty big step for her, so I've been backing her like off of a little concrete ledge and just slowly getting her to where that's a bigger step down. And eventually we'll get to where we can back her out of this. And then I'll let her come out. Good girl. I like that. How calm that was. Here, let's back up for a second and not run me over. Good job. Man, she's been doing great. We've been working on leading her over obstacles. Like we need to build a wood pile, or excuse me, a wood shed for our wood pile. Oh, you've got a weed. That's probably good. We probably don't need to eat that though. And so, been getting her used to obstacles. Oh, careful. There we go. Just getting her to where she's good with walking over things. She's more interested in eating. Pay attention. There you go. Now we're going to unsaddle her. Just going to do the same thing, but in reverse. So I'm going to kind of give her a warning that I'm going to be moving this. Make sure her tail's tucked in her britchin. Pull that up. Good girl. Hang that up there. Same thing. I'm going to kind of set her up for success here. I'm going to move that breast collar. I don't want to scare her. Good girl. Hang that back up. I move to the back cinch first. Always the back cinch first. Riding saddle or back saddle. Just gonna let that hang down. Now the front cinch. Good girl. I think my latigos are a little long for you. Okay, and now one thing to be mindful of is when you uncinch them, this cinch is probably going to come forward and it might tap their leg. And I don't feel like she's going to be worried about that, but if you clunked one that was real sensitive, that could cause them to jump pretty good. Then your saddle's going off, and now you've startled them pretty good with that saddle. So that's kind of the last little step, and sometimes it can be the thing that really troubles them. So just keep that in mind if you're starting your first horse or mule. Nice. So we're just gonna pull this all off. I'm gonna let her smell it. Check it out. Even though she didn't seem worried, still want to let her think about that, just in case maybe she had some anxiety I didn't really know about. I'm gonna throw it back on her again. Good girl. Take it back off. Good job. No big deal. Awesome. Come here, sweetheart. Good girl. What a good girl. You look like your fancy haircut. You look so snazzy. And then the last little thing we've been working on is just getting her used to me being able to jump around her. I'm not going to put all my weight on her yet because I'm too heavy for her since she's just a baby. But I'll kind of lean on her a little bit. Get her used to that. Because eventually, one day, I'm going to want to stand up in that stirrup and get on her. So I don't want her to be worried about me moving around, putting my foot up. Like that. Good girl. It's funny to think about riding her right now with her being so little. But they grow up fast, and everything we can do with her in the meantime to get her prepared for when she is big enough to make it where it's not even a big deal to her. That's gonna set us up for a lot of success when we do go to throw a leg over her for the first time, when she's probably 3 years old. So we've got another, a little over a year. And 4 will probably be riding her, but in the meantime, we're gonna pony her up in the mountains. We'll start highlining her here soon to teach her how to tie. Start getting her to where she can be tied up to a post, tied in the trailer, start taking her for rides in the trailer, probably highlining her in a camp with us, and even going for trail rides. We'll just pony her off of a different mule, but going for trail rides with her little pack saddle on. So those are kind of our next steps with her. And yeah, excited to see what all we get done with her over the fall and the winter. And next year, she'll be ready to start packing just a little tiny bit of weight. And then the year after, she'll be ready to start packing us. Good girl.